Hello everyone, I hope we are live. Let's wait for confirmation. I'll quickly get to Lichess, our tournament page on icu.ie. So almost getting set up. Hello everyone, I hope we are live. Let's wait for confirmation. I'll quickly get to Lichess, our tournament page. Right, I think we can see the board.
Yes.
So welcome everyone to the final round of the Malahide Millennium Tournament. We have live streamed the previous round, the penultimate round, round 5, and in this stream we're gonna cover the final and major round. This round will decide the Leinster champion for this year. There's a lot for grabs here, and currently in the senior section we have Oleg with half a point over the rest of the field with 4.5 out of 5, Trisha?
Yes.
Yeah, only conceded half a point, and the remaining rest have Patrick and Jacob are trailing him with just by a half point. And as we can see here, it's the first board clash between Artemenko, Oleg, and Jacob Flynn. So let's get started with this, shall we?
Yes.
Trisha? All right.
So Artemenko is with the white pieces and has started with d4 and then
d5, solid choice. So I think Jacob strategy is probably going to be to be solid and not risk too much at the early stage. What do you think, Trisha? Because he obviously wants a win to clinch for the championship, but with the black pieces it's really hard. So he has to play a bit defensively, but then once things get normalized for both colors, I think Jacob will strike. But striking too early might be a problem. So Oleg starts with knight c3, and I think this is the Jabava. This is a very interesting choice. It's probably a good decision by Oleg that he tries to play a sideline to get a game, and at the same time he doesn't want to risk two. I think a draw would guarantee him a first place. If it's enough for like a clear first or a shared is still in question, but it's good enough.
If Patrick drew his if he drew his game, then Oleg just needs a draw to clinch the title.
True. So board 2 game is also heavily dependent on this one, so they're interlinked, especially when you're in the last round situations. You would often check the other board games as well, because that would help you or make decisions, but sometimes having too much attention on others' boards could backfire, but hopefully that won't be the case, and we'll see some quality games in the final round. So we have the Jabava system, Jabava London, as they say now. So a6, stopping knight b5, e3, e6, and here this is a move. If white doesn't know, you can't say he's a pure Jabavian, or I should say like a Jabava expert. Here white should know that there's this really enterprising move, g4.
True, I got this position many times with black.
Yes, it is. I mean, black has played the most natural setup, but this allows white to gain space here. And we're told when we're young never to move this pawn too early in the game, especially because when you castle on the king side, your king will be weak. But g4 has a very specific idea in mind. White wants to play g5, bring the queen to f3, place it on g3, and put tremendous pressure over this diagonal. Let's see how things unfolded. Bishop b4, pinning, and also knight e4 is in the air. Bishop g2, protecting this. c5, g5, takes, knight e4, queen d3, bishop d7, and apologies, we should turn on
the eval bar.
Yeah, so it'll be more exciting to analyze. Though, by the way, we're not checking the engine suggestions, we're just checking the evaluation so that we don't go awfully wrong. But at the same time, it's good to kind of analyze without, engines telling you the moves, because it just removes the fun out of analyzing games. So please do message us on the chat. We see the chat is a bit idle now, but hopefully it'll be more active, and we tried to make this an interactive commentary session, so you can tell us your doubts or any suggestions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so we reached this position. I think Jacob is doing quite well, Trisha, don't you think so?
True.
How do you assess the opening? How did it went for Black?
So Black developed all his, most of his pieces. Still, the knight is not on b8 is not developed, but it looks like he has a quite strong attack on the pin on e2 and c3.
Yeah.
It looks like Black has got kind of equalized the position in the opening. He has a nice knight on e4. Has some threats on e2. It looks quite nice for Black.
Yeah, I think maybe, it's too early to say, but probably it wasn't the right decision for Oleg to enter these such positions, because Black has equalized and it's a level-headed game. Did he want this to happen? You can never be right about opening choices. Sometimes it works effortlessly well, sometimes it doesn't. And I feel this is a case of maybe a not so great opening choice. But I myself have played London before, and it's a very fresh, easy-going opening, so I could understand that it's the last round. You don't want to have a theoretical battle, so might as well play the Jobava London.
Yeah.
Anyways, we get an interesting position, I think.
And especially like when Jacob is always really well prepared with the openings.
Correct. And for those who don't know, Jacob is a very good opening specialist, I should say. Recently was also very close to getting an IM norm in the recent Dublin Easter IM norm event. He just missed by half a point. So after knight takes c3 check, b takes c3 and bishop d6. I have a feeling that I think Jacob could. It's too early to say, but I think it's an opening success for Jacob.
Yeah.
He reached a position where I don't think White is happy with the position. Weak pawn structures. It's a closed position where White has the bishops and Black has a knight. This could play an important role. After bishop d6, c4. Yeah, I think that's strong as well. Engines claim that it's still equal here, but I think Black is the one he should be more happy, I think. But yeah, definitely there is pressure over this diagonal, so we can't have any clear conclusions yet. Yeah. But this is my feeling that maybe if Black can sort things out along this long diagonal and with the king, he should be doing well. Because, the king's position on e2, what do you think, Trisha?
It doesn't feel safe in the center.
Yeah. But it's just a matter of Black developing his pieces, and then we have a lot of things to worry about.
True.
So after c4, it's Jacob's move. Jacob has taken some time.
Good bit of time, yeah.
Yeah, he's 13 minutes down, but nothing, anything to be concerned at this moment. So how do you deal with this d5 pawn is the question. One way, it can't be like taking on c4, because after d takes c4, bishop takes b7, the bishops are starting to get more active.
Yes.
So you would want to keep this pawn as a rock,
Yeah.
You want to defend it. Maybe bishop takes
Takes
f4. Queen takes f4. Now d5 is defended. You could either play knight c6 or probably castles.
Yeah. Castling feels safer.
Yeah, I have not so good feeling about white's position, but yeah, that's me just underestimating the power of the pair of bishops. It might as well prove, stronger at some point. So I think bishop takes f4, queen takes f4. We remove the bishop pair, and then knight c6.
Maybe.
Yeah. So this is a game worth seeing. I think Jacob is in the driver's seat, I believe. Of course, it's not over yet, but I think there's so many piece trades in just how many moves. It's only 14th move, and we're about to see the third minor piece trade. And with the kind of a semi-open position, we could expect more exchanges. So we'll see.
This looks like a good position, to try for a win. Like, not exactly in this position, but yeah. It's a good... I mean, when Jacob's trying to win.
Yeah, this is definitely a position Jacob will be happy about. He has nothing to risk. There's no way of liquidating quickly enough, so it's perfect. His opening went quite well. Alright, so that's for board 1. Moving on to board 3, our...
board 2?
Board 2, pardon me. Board 2 is against... Again, both Patrick and Shane play for the same club, and which is organizing this tournament as well, the Malahide Chess Club. So Patrick has...
Does Shane also play for
yes,
Malahide?
I think he recently changed from Elemmount to Malahide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, where were we? So, yeah, Patrick has been playing with his teammates, so it must have been a bit tough, when it's tough to play players with you've kind of played before. You discussed a lot about chess, like us. Right. So this seems like an equal position, but white is a bit more active. We could see how the game started with. So Patrick opened with e4, and from Patrick's perspective, Trisha, so he is half a point trailing. How would you think his mindset would be going into this last round? Because a win might ensure that he would, get to the first place, but a draw solidifies a second place too. So would he be thinking more of a win and then, or more of a draw against Shane? And Shane is a formidable opponent, and Shane is known to have get these really complicated positions, and he can easily kind of swindle there.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I mean, Patrick should play for a win, and then if he doesn't, maybe a draw. Yeah. But I think he will go for a win, or try for a win. But yeah.
Yeah. So Shane went with c5, so you see already a very aggressive fight with the Sicilian.
Yeah, but Patrick took a draw in the penultimate round, right?
Yes, against Jacob then.
So
and Patrick was a tad bit better. Not better, but a very, very tiny edge. But it's not significant, but probably... But with the black pieces, and he was a bit under time pressure, so it makes sense. But now I think...
Yeah, with the white pieces,
this will be a fight,
yeah.
Knight f6, knight c3, and here we see the 4-knight Sicilian variation. It's a very tricky variation. You can transpose to many different lines. For instance, the Shreshnikov. Sometimes the Taimanov as well, the Scheveningen. I don't know what's the right pronunciation of Scheveningen.
No idea.
If anyone knows, please do write in the comment. Though it's hard to kind of tell how to pronounce it exactly with a comment, but never mind. Queen d3. Have you seen this before, Trisha? Queen d3. It seems a very rare move.
No.
Yeah, because from my study of this position, I know that knight db5 is one option. Knight takes c6. This is what I think black really wants to get this very complicated position. Black has the pawn majority in the center. However, this e5 pawn clamps down everything, and there's this crazy line with queen c7, f4, queen b6, eyeing towards the 93 squared. You say, all right, c4, 93. I think it's queen d3. All right,
something like this, and then somehow the king comes on e2 or something.
Yeah, it's something weird. Ah, no, it's
Bishop b4 check.
Yeah, bishop b4 check, king e2. Now this pawn is getting attacked. f5, ef6, now f6, and there's some really crazy lines in. Yeah, one should spend a lot of time to analyze this position, but we won't do it here. We'll try to see what exactly happened. Queen d3. This is a very common maneuver. The idea is that generally in the e6 Sicilians, the queen comes to c7, right, Trisha?
Yeah.
And this very fact, white encaches and usually plays something like knight takes c6, and whenever you recapture with the pawn, or mostly with the pawn, queen g3 is an idea. Maybe it's not working here exactly, but maybe I'm not telling in the right position, but white gets a kind of a very sizable advantage at some point with the open H file.
Yeah, and some lines,
So that could be the idea of queen d3, and we're kind of protecting e4 pawn.
Declan writes, I think queen d3 is a Malahide special.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a very insightful fact. Okay, I never knew that. Queen d3, right. Well, I should mention that even in your game against Jacob in the Dublin Easter IM event, we could quickly show how it went. I think Jacob played something with the queen d3, right? So a6, bishop e2, knight f6, knight c3. You played queen c7, I believe.
Yes.
Castles, bishop b4, and queen d3.
Queen d3, yeah.
Yes, certainly. You're right, Declan.
True, I got this position a few weeks ago against Jacob.
Yeah. So queen d3, and yeah, it's a trendy line. Nowadays, people are trying to find options which are less committal, because moves like knight takes c6 or knight db5 can have huge impact on the pawn structure quite quickly. So queen d3 is a flexible choice, and Shane played d5, striking on the center. E takes d5, knight b4.
It looks like Shane knew this because he hasn't taken much time for these moves.
Well, both haven't taken much time, I would say. You have 1 hour 31 minutes for Patrick, and Shane 31 hours.
Like 33. Shane wasn't surprised with this.
Yeah. Since it's a Malahide specialty, I guess both knew it quite well. So queen g3. Look, I just mentioned that. This is the reason why white plays queen to d3. Actually, they're in Taimanov specifically. There's queen f3 and queen g3. I think it was specialized by former world champion, I think the 11th world champion, I don't know, Vladimir Kramnik. I think he invented, or at least popularized it back in his time. I think this whole maneuver of queen f3, queen g3.
That's nice.
Now it's played by everyone now. It's quite a thematic idea nowadays. So queen g3, bishop c5. What? Okay, so I was expecting just knight takes d5, and then we maybe play bishop d3, have a position, but it does make sense, because how would you, so after a move like knight takes d5, bishop d3, you can't easily move this bishop to any normal squares because this is always hanging. So you need to make use of a tempo by attacking the d4 knight.
True.
So after knight d4, so after the attack on knight on d4, what did Patrick play? So go back to live board. Oops, we've kind of crossed too far.
So it's after queen g3, bishop c5.
a3. Interesting. Wow, it seems like no one is in the mood to defend their pieces and just attack. So everyone is in attacking mode here. So knight takes finally. Knight takes, queen takes. So the queen is in the center, which is a good news for black. Knight b5, threatening a nasty family fork.
White can take on g7, right? Because of rook g8.
That's a good question.
What's there for?
Yeah, rook g8, queen takes is
This
there.
looks equal after queen takes f6.
Is it just queen takes d4? No.
This is better for white then. Is there some bishop d4, queen takes h8, king e7, queen, but then queen g7 and can't.
Yeah, even like bishop e3 maybe.
Yeah, bishop e3.
Yeah, this is interesting. So after knight takes, queen takes, we are thinking instead of knight b5 is queen takes g7 possible. Oh, wait a minute. We have this intermezzo, queen e5 check.
Queen e5 check.
And then speaking of intermezzo, if you hadn't heard of it, a famous Irish novelist, Sally Rooney, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Apologies if I'm forgot her name wrong, but she wrote a book on a chess player, on not a actual chess player, but a fictional chess player, and the book name is Intermezzo. So do check it out.
So
queen e5 check and it's end of story. So that's why knight b5. There's a fork, so black castles. Knight c3. A lot of knight tours. Queen d6. Bishop g5. You can see that white isn't in a hurry to trade pieces because he is more than happy to double the g pawn in return of getting the open h file.
Yeah.
So bishop g5, queen takes g3, h takes g3, bishop d4. Castling. White is threatening to take here and double the pawns. So I was thinking, can white avoid this situation by playing maybe bishop d2 all the way back? Is this that bad, or is it just too slow?
Is it a bit passive?
It is passive. But so maybe a move like.
But how could we avoid the double pawns? The pawns getting doubled.
King d2 is not possible. Maybe knight d1.
Oh.
And then after bishop d7, bishop d3, h6, bishop e3, and it's an even game really. And there's many ways to play, but just wondering what could be the move. It's interesting.
So we cannot really move the knight because the b2 pawn falls.
Or should a move like bishop d3 work? Bishop d3 takes. This is something for white. Now it's not easy to defend the pawn because I'm trying to threaten here. If you play h6, I just capture, and h6 falls.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick castled here. I don't see anything wrong here because this bishop is a problem and bishop can't move here because white takes the knight and so has the bishop, so that's wrong. So probably black has to find other ways, and let's see what Shane played. Shane played bishop e3, knight e4. Patrick replied with bishop e3. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up the moves. And here we see Shane, the first one with an extra pawn now. But it is extremely scary because white has the bishop pair. The position is a bit open.
Yeah.
White's pieces are active. They haven't reached their true potential, but there will be a moment when we'll see that. Yeah. So it's Wow, Shane is playing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't take any time.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's playing very quickly. And this is important when you're playing with black pieces. Sometimes you get into slightly inferior positions, but you give enough questions to be solved by white that you gain a lot of time on the clock. And this could be the scenario. Now, Patrick is close to 40 minutes down, and it is important for him to kind of keep in pace. I mean, Shane is generally a fast player, so it's hard to keep, matching his, speed. But if he can maintain, Patrick can maintain the time situation, I think his position should help him to find the better moves. But
I was just thinking if Patrick could play bishop d3.
Bishop d3 and just give up the rook, but...
And then bishop h7. Would he go for a perpetual? Don't think so. I mean, he's a pawn now.
But do you think...
Shane would allow it. Yeah. Shane could just play h6 or something.
h6. I doubt d1 is threatened.
Yeah.
And after rook e1.
Bishop d7, yeah.
So white shouldn't be closing down the d file. The d file is white's main strength.
True.
And there should be ways to get it going.
Yeah.
So what do we do? So after knight takes c3, it's Patrick's move. It's an important position because he's a pawn down and he has to find a right plan to put pressure. So we have the h7 pawn, which is a weakness. The c8 bishop is not doing well.
Yeah.
The knight is something we can play around.
True.
So these are the three kind of negatives in black's position, which white should build a plan.
Yeah. So maybe one plan could be rook d4 and play rook h4.
Rook d4, rook h4. Rook d3
has been played, is it?
Rook d3. It is attacking the knight, but I was thinking that is there a way that I don't really attack the knight but kind of trap it? And this is what Grandmaster Jacob Agard always says, that there's this topic in attacking chess where it's the killer zone. You don't really want to keep giving checks and allow the king to go. In this case, maybe the knight. You don't want to keep attacking it and get it to a safe spot. Rather, you want to trap it, then first contain it and then fire. But rook d3, and the rook is not doing anything much on the third rank, and it's blocking the bishop. As you were mentioning, maybe rook d4 and swinging the rook over here, bishop d3, putting the rook here, maybe some ideas. But I'm not a big fan of rook d3, but let's see. Knight d5,
bishop d2 probably.
Bishop d2. Yeah, I have a feeling that Patrick has gone wrong here a little bit. It'll be a tough game for white. I think black is slightly better.
But I think it's hard.
Whoa! What happened on board 4?
It's board
between
4? I think it's board 4. Yeah.
What? It's just 1 hour into the play, and again, Andre is the first one to finish. All right, let's quickly check his game, shall we, Trisha?
Sure. Yeah.
So he was playing. So it's a game from board 4 against Kirill Kolyavko, and Andrei Ivanov. So we started with an English, and we kind of transposed to a Bogo Indian. Knight c3 variation, not so popular. It's now transposes to a Ninzo. It's a lot of transpositions. Bishop takes c3 check. So normal moves till this point. e4. So it's, if you remember, guys, from Andre's morning round, he had the exact same structure but with the reverse colors. But what is important in these, this structure is called the same-ish structure, is that the side with the pawn structure, the same-ish pawn structure, you need to have more pieces because the pawns are slightly extended. It could get weak or a bit empty if you exchange a lot of pieces. And white really needs a bishop pair in such positions, and which is exactly what white is lacking now. So therefore a move like I would like a move like bishop e4, so that after f5 we could maybe give a check, and now maybe play knight d2, or we could snatch this, but I'm not a big fan of giving up the bishop. Can we maintain the pawn structure? Let's say rook e1.
Is there a move like c5?
Yeah, c5 is crazy. Yeah, c5 you could kind of dismantle black's pawn structure, because if you take here, takes, this is really good.
But maybe e4.
e4.
Could we take on c6 first?
No, I don't think so. It's not required. Maybe knight b3. No. Or just takes. Yeah, take. And this is an awful pawn structure.
Yeah.
Knight b3. I don't know why Engine isn't a big fan of it, but this is just a beautiful position. Anyways, e4 blocks white's own bishop. And I recently had a game in Sardinia World Chess Festival too, where I realized that the queen on c2 isn't the most, well placed piece in this structure. So yeah, e4.
But where is it better then?
You don't. Well, in this situation, queen c2 happened, but yeah, you really don't need the queen on c2. Rather, keep the knight on d2. Can we push the f pawn? Let's check. We got a question from the chat. So in this position, from maybe rook c1 and then e4. So we have two questions. Let's start with rook e1 and then e4. So our Jexer, I don't think the issue is with the protection of the pawn. You don't need to prepare e4. Rather, you don't have to prepare it at all. I think what you need to focus is more on using this diagonal with the bishop. Rook e1, you're never gonna open the e file, so it doesn't make much sense. What you really want is at some point, like knight d2, you want to have rook a1, f4. That's something you want to aim. You want to keep the rook on f1 rather. But regarding a previous doubt,
we push the f pawn.
So which color? Is it black's f5 move or white's f5 or f4? But yeah, these are the positions every d4 player, especially Nimzo players, should know. It happens quite often when black takes, bishop takes c3. And it's important to understand when and when not to play e4. Yes, exactly. Yeah, knight d2, f4 is white's idea, guys. Especially when you don't have the dark square bishop, don't weaken your dark squares. And how exactly that happens? When you push a pawn on the light square, which means the adjacent squares are weak. And in this case, the f4 and d4 become a tad bit weak. And since we don't have the bishop pair, let's avoid it.
Yeah.
So rook a b1, queen e7, e4, inaccuracy, takes, bishop g4. Yeah, Andre is quick to spot that d4 is a soft spot and f3 is which is defending it, and he's not even caring about the b7 pawn, because in this particular situation the central pawn plays a much more important role.
Sure. And Black is threatening to take the knight on f3.
Yeah, I'll just be back in a second. We can continue, Trisha.
Sure. So black is threatening to take on f3 and take on d4 as well. So what did white play here? Queen c3, defending the d4 pawn, but it gave black the double, it gave white the double pawn. Takes, and then I guess queen f6, is it? Yes, and still there's a double attack on the d4 and f3 pawns. Oops. But what could have white done here? To protect the d4 pawn, maybe d5. But if d5, probably black can take on f3, takes on f3, but then knight e5 or knight d4 is there. Is it knight d4? Yeah, knight d4 is there. So maybe takes, and then should white take on c6? Take on c6. And then black has to worry about the f3 bishop. Something like queen g5. Only move g3. And then taking the pawn here, is it? It still doesn't look great for white because of like queen g4, queen h3 ideas. But still, it's not a lost position for white. White has ideas with bishop e2, exchanging the strong bishop. Yeah, probably something like d5. Counter-attacking would have been a better idea. So after queen c3, takes, and then queen f6, and yeah, it's a double attack. Bishop e2, knight d4, is it? Okay, and yeah, it's a hard position for white. With the double pawns, with the weak king, and yeah, white has a bad bishop on e2 as well. Knight f3, queen b7, rook b8, okay. Oh, okay, and then yeah, white lost a rook, I guess, after rook b1, queen g4 check. Yeah. Oh, okay. This was a very fast game and a very nice one as well. The way how black, how Andre got the advantage, took the advantage of the weak d4 pawn here by playing bishop g4. Yeah. This was a nice game. Okay, so one game has finished. Let's go to the top board again to see how they're doing. So what happened? So we kind of left it here. So Jacob castled, rook e1. So probably Oleg's idea was to kind of artificial castle to put his king safe. Jacob took the bishop, and then queen c8 by Jacob. So putting some pressure on the c4 pawn and the c2 pawn. And white has to decide what to do to advance the pawn to c5 or to take on d5. He has two options, I guess. It's interesting. How should white continue? Okay, why we can't take... Okay, there's a question on the previous position. On b8 in the end, can you please... Oh, okay, I think I got it. So in this position, after rook b8, why can't we take on b8 here? Yes, white could have done this, and white has two rooks, but I mean, yeah, maybe this could be a better try than what happened in the game, as white lost a whole rook. But still, white's king is a bit weak. The e4 pawn is kind of weak, but yeah, of course we can play something like rook e1. Maybe rook e1, but I think black can collect some pawns by like queen c3 and then grabbing this pawn, or if something like rook e8. Yeah, I think still queen c3, taking this pawn and pushing the c pawn, and probably even taking this pawn in the future. But yes, I think this would probably go a bit longer for white. But still, it's hard to play as the white's king is weak.
I hope I didn't let you alone, Trisha.
Not at all. So yeah, we were just checking.
So where are we?
Okay.
So we're still analysing Andrei's win. So another quick win.
Yeah, we kind of analysed it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you missed what happened was after bishop g4. After bishop g4, Kirill played queen c3 to defend the d4 pawn.
Yeah.
And then white took.
Yeah, it's already bad news. Yeah. It's all started with e4, guys.
Yeah.
Really needed to, because d4 is a sphere head for white's position, and and there's going to be a double attack.
Yeah.
So after rook takes b1, queen takes a4. Oh, hard luck. Sometimes such happens, but
true.
Andrei definitely showed his full potential here. I believe in the Dublin Easter IM Norm event, he didn't do that well, but it's probably his first IM Norm round robin event, so definitely when I played it, I had a terrible start, and I think he probably did slightly better than me. When I was playing for it for the first time, I think he scored 2 out of 9. I don't remember, but definitely these round robin events are quite tough, and you need some experience before you can even expect to do well.
Yep.
So this is great. We see Andrei coming back to his potential, so that's great. So what does that mean? So if we check the standings, if we quickly check the standings, so this is the live standings, we can see that Andrei Ivanov is
on 4.5.
It's on 4.5, so he's currently second place, but this is just a tentative standings, and it obviously changes as the results come in. Alright, so what board shall we check? Shall we check board 2? We actually skipped this completely. Or board 3, I should mention. Because board 2, yeah, I think Patrick, it's probably not a good situation here. So let's move to board 3. So board 3 is against Jason versus Margaret. we reach this very sharp Sicilian position. I believe it comes from a Sveshnikov, but let's see how it rised here. So it started off with e4, c5, knight f3, d6. Okay, it's not a Sveshnikov then. It's probably coming from a Najdorf. Yeah, a6, bishop e2. Bishop e2 variation is known to be very solid, very classical, and it's positional in nature. e5, knight b3, bishop e7, bishop e3, bishop e6. And there's actually an important thing to remember. Black never usually plays bishop e6 first, because f4 can be an annoying move. Because after e takes f4, bishop takes f4, and in one tempo, white's able to reach on f4. So what black does is he plays bishop e7 first, and when the moment white plays bishop e3, then only black will play bishop e6. So that after f4, if e takes f4, white technically wasted a move, correct?
Yeah.
So this is a small nuance in the Najdorf, which everyone should know, that only put this bishop on e6 when the bishop is already on e3. Alright, so bishop e7, bishop e3, now bishop e6, knight d5. Wow, this is interesting. So here we can see that the e4 pawn is on pre, or it's hanging, but at the same time white is angling towards this knight c7 fork. So how should black react? Knight takes d5, makes sense, chopping it off. And this change of pawn structure is quite important to understand, that now d6 is not a backward pawn anymore, but at the same time white gets an enormous pawn majority on the queen side. But the same does black too. There's 4 versus, so there's so many colors, remove them, but basically there's a pawn majorities on both sides. So white has a pawn majority on the queen side with a 4 versus 3, and on the king side it's a 3 versus 4. So it's dynamically balanced in this case. Bishop f5, queen d2, knight d7, couple of normal moves, and you can see that white is now trying to build the chain, or the space, increase space on the queen side, so as black is doing on the king side. f4 stopping the further retreat. Knight c6. I don't like a move like b6 because, and I don't know if anyone can point us in the chat what exactly this square is called. It starts with an O. It's a special term we use when the knight is on a very, very firm square. So anyone in the chat can guess.
When no pawn can be attacked.
Yeah. There's the knight is on dash. What's the keyword, guys? So yeah, speaking more about this, this is a monster knight now. It creates havoc in black's territory. There's pressure on e7 bishop, the d8, e5 pawn, and it also restricts the rooks to till some extent too. Exactly, yes, we got a right answer. It is called the outpost. An outpost is a special term we use to define that this square cannot be controlled by opponent's pawn. In this case, the opponent, is black for this knight. There's no pawn which can control the c6 square, which makes it very vulnerable and easy for the opponent, white, to gain control over this. So white is clearly better here for sure. Jason is doing quite well. He's 10 minutes up on the clock, has a perfect position. I think he just needs to find the right moves to break through on the queen side, and he should be well on his way to convert this. But it's not yet clear yet. There's no obvious mistake made by black, so we'll see how things go. So this is board 3. Shall I move on to the other boards, Trisha?
Yeah. This is board 5, is it?
Board 5, I believe, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so board 5 is between Harry versus Atharva. Harry is playing with the white pieces and Atharva is playing with the black pieces. Let's see how this game went. It was a Caro-Kann. It's a c5 Caro-Kann, and it's named after, I think, 2 grandmasters. Kenkin is a Russian grandmaster, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, sorry about that, but I do know how to pronounce the second grandmaster, and which is Arkell. Yes, I think it's Arkell, Kenkin, Caro-Kann, advanced variation, something like that. So Arkell is a specialist and is a well-known grandmaster from England, and he's won the senior championships, the World Senior Championships, quite sometimes. The team championships, he's a main player for the English team, national team, and he regularly visits Ireland. And I had many great games with him. And he's the endgame specialist, and who doesn't know, if you reach an endgame, don't expect the result which you like. If you think you will draw that game, he will win and show it to you. If you think you're winning that game, he's gonna make a draw in that endgame. So he's a true endgame specialist, and if you put him up against even some of the strongest grandmasters in the world, probably his endgame, particularly his endgame skill, can put a really tough fight against even the world's best. So that's how strong he is in the endgames. But I think he was the one to kind of actively employ this in his practice. This variation, Queen G4. This is a very complicated line. I'm not sure much about the theory, but I think, is Knight F3 a move? I think Knight F3 or A3 is a move, but Bishop B5 is not a great idea, especially when all of these pawns are hanging and you're, through tactical means, you're trying to, protect the pawns. So, Knight D7, H5. Just a second, we'll probably turn off the air purifier. It's making some noise.
So after H5, Queen G3, kind of protecting the E5 pawn, even though black can't really take on E5 now. And then Queen A5 check. That's a good move. Attacking the bishop, and now white has only moved Knight C3.
Yeah, Knight C3.
And D4.
And this is problematic. Black is pinning the knight and now attacking it.
Is black just winning a piece here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, black just won a piece, guys, and this is not good news.
Okay, so black is a piece up. Okay. Yeah.
Alright, I think Harry probably mixed up his opening notes because, sometimes, in such positions where the center is quite loose, you need to be very careful with your move orders, because since there's no stability in the position, any mistake could really cost you a lot.
True.
I think we got some comments as well.
So it's kind of passive. H5.
H5, was it from this game or the previous one?
I think it's from this one.
H5 is passive? Sorry, I was going really quickly here. H5, I don't think it's very passive here. What black is trying to do is that this is kind of a semi-outpost, I could say. I mean, the G2 pawn is there to control.
So it's better to develop pieces, and then castle kingside is a lot better for black.
It is quite better, but this specific opening relies more on keeping the king in the center and just go directly attacking white's center, especially the e5 pawn.
Yeah.
White banks on the fact that with this destroyed pawn structure, he would be easily able to control the center, and by means of controlling the center, the king actually becomes safe being where it is currently. So a move like h4 just kind of ruins white's coordination. And as you can see that black didn't bother castling on the queen side because he found even greater shelter on the queen side, as you can see. But thanks for the question. Yeah,
Exactly.
thank you for the question. And yeah, h5 is a move that we often get confused, should we play it or not. I mean, especially when you're thinking of castling on the king side ever, h5 would be a terrible move.
True.
So yeah, black definitely had in mind that when I make a move like h5, I probably should forget about castling on the king side. Maybe I should just keep it in the center or castle.
The queen is a bit annoying on g4 because we can't get the f8 bishop out. And usually our knight is on f6, but here we can't play knight f6 because the e5 pawn is there. So that's why h5 and trying to shoo away the queen and and I think black has some ideas of knight e7, knight f5.
Certainly.
And yeah, of course, knight h6 is also a typical idea in these positions.
Yeah. Because the main fact of why queen g4 happened was that black is threatening bishop takes c5.
So, but then white attacks the king.
Yeah, definitely that should have been white's strategy, but he really needed the bishop not to go too quickly in black's territory. Rather, he had to develop the knight.
Yeah, knights before bishops.
And maybe a move like h5. I think queen f4 is played quite often. Bishop takes. And then there's moves like a3. I'm just giving a sample line. I'm probably not giving the right moves. But slowly but surely, what white is establishing here is some sort of setup that is towards the center, and then somehow trying to attack the king. But it is a tough nut to crack. The king is definitely a bit safe on the king here, because this pawn e5 and e6 are fixed, so therefore it's not easy for white to just break open the position and attack black's king. I hope that answers the question. But yeah, due to the fact that these pawns are fixed, e5 and e6, it's not easy to open the position. Alright, that's some in-depth analysis of this variation. I think we should move on to some other games. So shall we quickly check on the first board again, Trisha?
Yep.
Alright, so the top board clash between Oleg Artemenko and Jacob Flynn. This is pretty much, you can say, the title match. We'll see who will be crowned the Leinster champion for this year, and also the Malahide Millennium winner as well.
Yeah.
So
when you were away, Tarun, so this was the position when I was talking about whether white should play c5 or take on d5. And Artemenko took on d5. Yeah, it's
were you
hard.
expecting this move?
I was thinking maybe we can play c5. It's a bit safer.
It is a bit safer, Patricia, but don't you think that with the bishop, white does want to open the position, even if it means that his king is slightly exposed? But there's a German word called Luft. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it in the right German way, but what Luft means is that there is a room for the king to, safely escape. So, and I think that safely escape route is king f1, king g1. So there's Luft here. Therefore, white can afford to open the position without fearing that the king gets exposed. And you can see that this is a fine position for white. And a move like c5 only helps black because you're fixing the pawns. This helps the knight to easily navigate its way. And this bishop becomes a bit, stuck with the d5 granite. So queen f4, queen c8, c takes d5, And now the question is...
so I think Jacob played Queen C4 check. Yeah.
Oh, Queen C4 check. That's brilliant. So, I was just mentioning that King F1 is White's Luft. So therefore, Jacob is making sure that White doesn't escape from this route. Yeah. Is it a route or route? I don't know. Let's say a route.
Yeah, route is familiar.
So King F1 is not possible. Now it's a funny situation. There are 3 options. Well, 4 options. I'd say 3 options. King D2, King F3, King D1. Either of them are quite extravagant because you're moving the king towards the center.
Yeah.
Or at least in a more exposed area. And this is exactly what White doesn't want. But with this strong move, I think Oleg has to take a big decision here. It may not seem significant, but it will affect the course of the game.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult to choose where to put the king.
Well, I would say King F3 is a bit of a nonsense because...
it doesn't look bad though. How is Black going to, checkmate?
Yeah, you might even want to kind of play Bishop F1, Bishop D3, and again get the luft of King G2.
Yeah, the king on G3 looks fine.
It looks fine too.
Yeah.
You're right, with the cover on Rook E3, probably.
And as there only one minor piece on the board.
Yeah, because King F3 is White's only chance to have a safe environment for the king. Because when you're moving to King D2, you can never even dream to go back to your natural habitat on G1. Your natural safety shelter. So I would definitely think he would try to make King F3 work, but it is...
True. Because King D2 and putting the king on the queen side looks a bit dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And White, when you're putting a king on D2, Black doesn't really care if this pawn hangs because that only opens up the position. Let's give a sample line for our viewers. Let's say a move like Rook E5 is already quite worse because after Knight C6, Rook takes G5. White cannot be happy with winning a pawn and maybe thinking that the bishop is now free. There's huge problems after Knight B4. Okay.
But then Rook C5.
Rook C5 could be just perfect. But maybe Rook D8? Yeah, Rook D8. Bring the last piece into the game and now this is just over.
True.
This is over. So...
But does Black have to take on D5?
What do you mean have to take?
Like here.
I think he should take.
After King D2.
King D2, I think he should take because this is the whole point. We want to block the bishop.
I was thinking maybe you play Rook C8 and then maybe take. Does it make a huge difference?
You don't want to have a rook on C8 when there is a possibility of bringing the other rook.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Makes
and
sense.
You want to bring the knight as quickly as possible. Since there's D5 is a bit annoying to get the knight out, I think Black should just sort that issue first. Okay, so Queen takes F4, Queen C8. And it's still Oleg's turn and he is taking some time here now. And it's not an easy decision because you can't really calculate this, but need to think a lot of conceptual ideas like, right, because there are ways to use this idea, double on the B file, double on the E file. So this king move will decide the course of the game, Trisha. So I think we should move on to another game. It's still very complicated. Alright, let's move on to the other sections, shall we?
Should we look at the second board, Patrick's game?
Yeah, we'll quickly check there. And anyone who has just newly joined, we are analyzing the games from the Malahide Millennium Tournament. There are 3 sections here, and we're currently following the senior section. And Brzezinski is currently in second place, and a win would probably secure a share first. We don't know yet, but at least a second place is guaranteed. if he draws the match at least. So Shane is half a point behind Patrick, so that also matters. Now in this position, you can see that Patrick has taken a lot of time. It's currently the 27th move, and Patrick is on 24 minutes remaining on his clock. And you can see that Shane has a whopping 1 hour 24 minutes, a 1 hour advantage, and this isn't looking good for Patrick. I think he has to be quite fast, but he's materially also down. There's no weaknesses for black. I think this is pretty much, I could say, it's impossible for Patrick to save this.
But Patrick has the pair of bishops, so there's still some...
I wouldn't say so.
Thing to hope for.
The position is very dry in nature. There's no pawn breaks that could promise anything, but
But it's not so easy for white to lose this, though.
Well, what if knight c6 and somehow... Yeah, you're right. But
Yeah.
I'll try to get in something like f6, e5, and then bishop f7.
But okay, it's not so easy.
Yeah, it will take time, but I think it's going to be a really hard task for Patrick to hold this. And Shane, I think, with the huge amount of time he has, he'll take his time and figure out a way. So as things stand, it looks like Shane might have a great chance to convert this. Board 1, I think that Jacob has a brilliant shot at winning the game, but it's still too early to say.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Let's look at...
Should we look at the second board?
Yeah.
Or the third board, sorry.
Third board is Jason. The game hasn't really progressed till we left, so we'll keep that aside for now. Let's move on to the other sections. Shall we go with the juniors?
So in the juniors and in the intermediate section, we already have a winner.
Do we?
Yeah.
How?
Because I think in the junior section, Paulson has already won with the round to spare.
Okay, let's quickly check the chess results. And let's go to chess results. Where is it? Ireland. The junior section. Standings.
Okay, no. So there's a person with 4.5 and 4.
So probably I need to switch my screen to standings. Close this. Are we able to see the standings, guys?
We're just able to see a part of it.
Just a second, I'll kind of change the settings. It should pop up in a few minutes. Perfect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we have the standings, and we can quickly check the standings of the entire tournament too.
Yeah.
So Paulson is with 100%. Just trading by him is Stefan Kolev, and I think they both are playing against each other. Oh, that makes it even more interesting. So we have another title match here. So this is something to be carefully watched. So that's here.
We forgot to check the other section.
Yeah, so if we see the intermediate section, we have another person who has scored 100% till now, 5 out of 5, Joshua Blinkhorn from England, and he has a huge lead. He has a clear point lead against Advait, and is Advait playing against Joshua?
Yeah.
Yes, he is, and Advait has white pieces, so he could hope for scoring an upset, but it is going to be tough. So we have very interesting board 1 games, and we should check them out. I'll quickly, as we're on the chess results page, we'll quickly show the standings for the seniors tournament too. You can see Oleg with 4.5 out of 5. The remaining pack have 4, 3.5s. So it's total. There's almost 32 players over here. Yeah, and Andre won, so he would be on the second position somewhere. So that's a great result for Andre. He performed quite well. He's increasing 10 points. He drew with a 1900, but Will is a very underrated player. He is an FM elect. He got his title in the European Club Cup, but he needs the rating to fulfill the requirements.
Yeah.
And then Andre won against Harry, who's 2000 rated, and against Oleg. Oleg is a very tough player, and Oleg defeated Andre with the white pieces. Okay, so that's a great result. All right, now I think we can come back to the games again, Trisha.
Yep.
So let's go to the juniors game. I'm really curious about this game. So we're going to see. So Paulton is the one leading the tournament. So d6, c6. Okay, a very quiet way to play the position. Oh, I haven't turned on the eval bar. Okay, f4. So in this position we see that black has a bishop pair, but the pawn on e4 is dropping, and this is where many people kind of panic that, hang on, I have a bishop pair, but am I losing material? What you need to understand is when you have a bishop pair, you don't get it for free, obviously. Sometimes your opponent gives you the bishop pair so that he gets material or something else. But material is something you need to be least concerned when it comes to the pawns, because this is kind of a thorn in your own position, in black's position, and black really would like to take the pawn. So f5, I don't think it was necessary at all. Here, I think a very strong move would have been pawn to c5. Queen takes e4 and bishop b7. This opens this nice long diagonal for the light square bishop. So c5 would have been a really nice move. f5 is natural, but as I said before, with the bishop pair, you would love a much more open center. So c5 would have been a very clever idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Declan. Apologies.
Okay.
Oh, I'm really sorry. So we'll transition back to our game board. I hope now everything is visible. Is it?
Hopefully.
Just quickly setting things up. Perfect, yeah. So we're on it. So sorry, I was mentioning that in this position, black doesn't need to panic that, oh, e4 is hanging. I rather should just give it up with c5. So anyways, f5, queen c4 check, king h8, bishop c5. Bishop c5. This can't be a bad move, but I'm wondering what is wrong with this move. What do you think, Trisha? Inchen isn't really happy with this position because, you know, I was mentioning that black wants to get in c5, so the bishop has a renewed sense of, purpose. But bishop c5, Ancients are not happy. Is there a tactic here?
Bishop a6, is it?
Maybe bishop a6. Bishop a6. Now after queen takes, check, king h1. And these are the situations where often people confused that, oh, it's a closed position, maybe my knight is stronger, but there are some concrete situations where it's not. And clearly with this awkward queen on the side of the board and black having possibilities of pushing down the d file, it's not the most pleasant scenario white wanted. So bishop c5 was played, a5. Oh, that's probably even a better move.
Yeah, protecting.
Right. It's a very complicated situation now, because this bishop is like semi-good in terms that it's doing a great job on this diagonal, but with the pawns fixed on its own color, it does have a limited ability to, push further. And with one open file, I believe that it's going to be a tough task for both sides to do anything. But it's going to be an interesting game. It's a level-headed game. Stefan, what is worrying is that he's on 30 minutes, and Paulson is it Frenchie? I don't know.
Yeah,
What's his first?
Frenchie.
Frenchie. He has 1 hour, so he has a half an hour lead. This could prove useful. We don't know. We're deep into the middle game, so we'll see how things work out. Okay.
Should we go to the intermediate?
Yeah, let's move to the intermediate section. Intermediate. And we have, again, the title match. It's between Advait and Joshua.
So Joshua needs a draw, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Joshua is leading by 1 full point,
yeah.
which means a draw is just
enough.
So he'll definitely play quite solidly, and Advait will probably try his best to have a fighting position as much as he can. So d5, yes, this is a very drawish line. So a bit of a intro on this Italian. White generally, black generally plays d5 only when the pawn is on c3, so that the d3 pawn is a bit weak. For instance, let's say white doesn't play c3 and plays castles, and here it's not advisable for black, pardon me, to play d5, because after knight takes d5 you're not really gaining anything by opening up the d file. It's black the one initiated this d5 move in the hopes that this would open the d file, but what are you doing with the d file? D3 is not a weakness, it's quite well protected with the pawn on c2. However, after a move like c3, d5 pushes come into the air, and now d3 is a bit weak, and that's why d5 is the right timing. Rook e1, and apologies, I forgot to again put the evaluation bar. So rook e1, putting pressure on the e5 pawn, bishop g4, knight d2, knight b6. Yeah, here you can see the point. It's not easy for white to just play bishop b3. Well, it's probably played as well. Yeah, it's probably played, but now you can see that d3 is hanging, and I think black will take it. Yeah, probably it was maybe better for white to play h3, but this is annoying.
b6 is there.
Usually in such positions after bishop e3, I think castles, a4 is theory, but a move like c3 is asking for d5. So a slight opening mistake by Advait, I guess, but this might cost him not to get a fighting enough position. So it's Advait's move. I don't know, there's something wrong with the time, but I hope he didn't flagged already. It's just move 9 from the game. We'll see. So I think Joshua has accomplished a very stable position for himself, and I don't think he will have much issues making at least a draw in this game, Trisha. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you have to decide, like, do we want to play bishop b3? do want to play h3 and like give up the bishop. It's like a tough decision.
It is a tough decision, and White is definitely under pressure here. He has an important question to answer: what to do with this bishop. Do you want to give it away? Do you want to save it for later? We don't know. So this is a position we can stop here and see other games. We have another game, and it's by Lorcan versus Vyacheslav, which is, he's better known for Hector. Hector is his nickname. And so we'll quickly see this position. So it's a Scandinavian with an Alekhine twist. Black gets this very rapid development, but it seems like White won a piece, and yeah,
okay.
White is winning.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the senior section.
Yep, go back to the senior section.
Okay, I hope we can see this board. Alright, so back to board 1, guys. So where did we stop? So after queen c8, c takes d5, queen c4 check.
Oh, okay, so
king f3.
Artumenko went with the king to f3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make sense, because you do it now or regret for the rest of the game that, oh, I should have brought the king, to the king side where it feels much more, safer.
Yeah.
E takes d5, brilliant decision. Jacob wasn't tempted while winning a tempo with the check, because that just helps White to get a free diagonal. So having a pawn does put an end to that. So good move. So after king f3, e takes d5, and now Oleg played bishop f1. And now you can see that Oleg is finding a completely different diagonal for his bishop. Rather than focusing on this diagonal, the long diagonal, a1, oops, I misfired the arrows, h1 to a8, he is focusing on b1 to h7. So that's many arrows. So after bishop f1, how should White play? Sorry, Black play.
Yeah. Do we have to play bishop f1 though?
Bishop f1 was played. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It does make sense because, as I said, the fancy German word Luft is being created. So, okay, we got a message from Declan. I think if Jacob wins, his live rating will be 2290 something, very close. Wow. So does that mean we might have a new FIDE master, the latest FIDE master from Ireland? That'll be cool. So we could maybe check Jacob's live rating. So according to Lichess, he is increasing 11 rating points, which means he's currently 2270. Increasing this would be 2280. Does he have any other tournaments that he gained rating, Declan? Do you know any? Probably the league finals.
League games.
The league finals was one game, and he won that game, I believe. So that should be 2290s. So I don't think he would cross 2300 in this tournament, but he will be very close. So yeah.
But if he wins this game, maybe he'll increase. How many points? 6 points? 5?
Yeah, last round of the Armstrong Cup. And by the way, for those who don't know, Armstrong Cup is a trophy name for the Leinster leagues, and we usually call it Armstrong Cup rather than Leinster finals. Armstrong Cup kind of defines that it's Division 1 of the Leinster leagues, and it just finished a week ago, and it was won by Colesta Aina / Rathmines Chess Club. It's a amalgamation of this two chess clubs.
Yeah.
And I think Malahide came second.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think so.
And then third Gonzaga A, and then fourth our chess club, Dublin Chess Club. Wow. So Jacob went for it. He grabbed the c2 pawn, and instantly Oleg played rook ac1. What's going on here? So sorry again. We'll put the eval bar. Queen takes c2. Jacob correctly took the pawn. There was no need to fear about it. Rook ac1. And yes, so we're currently seeing that black is a pawn up. His pieces may not be active yet, but it's just a moment of one move. Knight c6 and bam, while black is developed.
And black has, after, if queen takes a2, black would have two passed pawns.
Correct. And I think queen takes a2 is possible. I think Jacob is in really good shape. I think his chances are increasing move by move. But I wonder what went wrong here. Maybe bishop f1 wasn't that necessary. Maybe a move like king g3, so that after here I want to play bishop takes d5, and if knight c6, maybe rook a d1, rook a d8, rook d2, something like this.
Yeah.
But it is hard.
Yeah.
Hard to.
Bishop f1 looks pretty practical.
It is, but your bishop isn't getting on d3, right?
But after rook ac1,
He's still not sure.
we can play rook c7 here.
Probably the pressure is kicking in here. Otherwise,
maybe white side is rook c7 here.
yeah, rook c7 could be
with
dangerous.
the idea of rook takes f7.
Yeah, and for the viewers, we could explain what this threat does mean. After a move like a5, rook takes f7
is not working.
not winning. Why exactly it's not winning? Oh, queen a3
Oh,
check.
queen a3 check. But
Okay, rook takes f7 is a blunder. It's made in 2. Probably just moving the knight back on the board.
okay.
So it's not a threat, but it is a bit scary.
Oh, maybe we can play rook e8 there. Like after rook c7. If
A5.
like a move a5.
Well spotted, Trisha, yeah.
Yeah.
And if knight c6, viewers, white to play, made in 2. Or give some time for the viewers to find this.
Yeah, it's not an easy position. After queen takes a2, rook c7, it looks like white has something, but I guess there should be a way for black to defend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So white to play, guys. It's a very elementary one.
Yeah.
But from afar, yeah, it might be slightly difficult to see it, but it's quite doable. Right, it's queen takes f7 check, king here, and then it's a checkmate. So rook ac1 was queen takes
a2 was
played? Yeah, it was played.
It was
Perfect.
played.
It's played. Oops, probably jumped ahead. And rook e7. So yeah, Oleg is trying to find some ways to find some resources. His only chance is black's king, and he's going for it. Material is not in his hand, so therefore that's the last resort he could find. So it's Jacob's task is to neutralize any sort of initiative on his king. And rook takes b7 is a threat, Trisha. It's not easy at all.
White. I was thinking, why not queen a2 check now, and white has to move the rook on e7.
Yeah, maybe.
Or has to play queen e3. Because
Queen e3 is not a good idea at all, right? Because then we just oh, that's not good.
Wow.
This rook becomes too active. What do we have to play? A move like queen b2. This is getting complicated, guys. This is getting complicated. Can black just move away the knight after knight c6? Rook takes b7. Now can we try queen a3 check?
A3.
And now there's no queen e3 because there's knight takes d4 check.
I mean, you can just go king g2 though.
King g2.
This looks fine for white.
Hang on. Can we just play knight takes d4 again? Because after queen takes d4, you're removing the defender of the rook, and ta-da! The rook is hanging.
True. But it kind of...
So black can't just rely just purely on his material. He needs to activate his pieces, and I think he has enough material to sacrifice his back to get a... Oh, and he does it. He does it, yeah.
Billy the Kid. Surely, queen a3 check.
Yeah, queen a3 check is always in there. Just the right moment is what black is looking for. And Jacob finds a brilliant move. Well, not a brilliant move, but when the knight is coming out after 20 moves of the game, it is a bit of a brilliancy, right? So after knight c6...
But could,
yes, this is the position.
Could Jacob have played like queen a3 check and kind of tried to save the pawn?
I don't think that's a pawn he needs to be concerned about. Now it's time to kind of... Actually, black doesn't need to go into an endgame. He should play on this
Still, a pawn is a pawn, like after queen a3 check.
Yeah, you can have your mouse here. That's okay.
Queen e3, maybe queen b2.
Yeah, queen b4, queen b2.
Yeah, and then play knight c6.
Rook c7, let's say.
Knight c6 and then rook b7.
Knight takes d4 check, or even knight takes d4 check.
I think knight c6 looks good. Takes and then knight d4, but then king g2 and my queen is also tapped.
Queen takes d4 maybe.
But then queen d4 and the white rooks are active.
This is tricky. Is there a way we can trap the rook? So e7 is hanging. We just need to find a way that could...
Could we just play queen d6?
So queen d6, rook e d7? Queen takes h2. That's quite adventurous.
Or are we missing something here? Because the evaluation has
it's
gone
-4.
a bit down.
Though we could come back to this later, but the game proceeded with queen a3 check, and as Billy the Kid was mentioning, surely queen a3 check, and it is certainly played here. And I think it's going to be quite a upset if Jacob wins here, because he was trailing half a point. And for those who are just tuning in, the current match situation stands as Jacob is with 4 out of 5 and Oleg is the only one with the sole leader with 4.5 out of 5. So a draw is enough for kind of at least a shared first, but I think Patrick is losing. He's the second one, the shared second place currently. So
Patrick is not losing. Maybe he's just a bit worse.
I don't think he can win those position though, so it's kind of gone from there. But yeah, definitely it's not over until it's over. But after queen a3 check, it's Oleg's move. Definitely Oleg isn't happy with this outcome. especially when you can see Patrick isn't, having any winning chances. Probably something even safer for Oleg would have been a better choice. But as I said before, you can only regret after you get, position.
The position on the board.
Yeah. So
Queen E3,
Queen
King
E3.
G2.
So yeah, after Queen A3 check, White needs to decide where to move. Queen E3 would have been the natural choice, but Knight takes G4 check is winning a pawn, so King G2, but still Knight takes D4. Maybe Rook C7. Now, how would you defend this?
Knight E6, is it?
Queen F5.
Can we just take the exchange?
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, after Knight C7, there's a fork on C7 and F4, and this is losing for Black.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we have a move. King G4, the King tour.
Not at all expected.
So White is going all out with the King on the 4th rank.
Oh.
That's why, I think.
Doesn't give a great feeling that the King is safe on.
But
D4.
yeah, I mean, obviously Oleg didn't want it, but that's how this situation now demands. He's just banking on the fact that Black hasn't found stability yet, I think. In terms of this knight, if Black is able to find, if Jacob is able to find a square where the knight nicely stands, it's hard for White to...
I mean, after taking on D4, and Black can just play Knight E6 and...
Knight takes D4.
Why? Oh, dangerous.
What move could White have?
It's equal.
So Queen takes D4 is not possible, obviously, because the C1 rook is hanging. So there is a move, maybe something with involving pushing the rook back. Maybe Rook C7. What? Okay. What could be the move here? So it seems like there's a fork, but its engines are saying it's still
Rook takes F7 possible?
Ouch! Rook takes F7. That's crazy.
And then Black can't take on F4 because of
it's
the
a checkmate. Oh my god. Yeah, you're right.
But it's so easy for Black to kind of fall into Knight takes D4.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Jacob has to be careful, because I think this is one last shot which Oleg is hoping for, because Knight takes D4 is tempting. When you play Rook C7, you're threatening here, but you're not. Yeah, after Knight E6, you think White is forced to move the queen, but not really. Ta-da! And the problem is, you can play.
Okay, you can't take because you're losing the knight.
Piece.
Yeah.
But what's the best move here then?
Rook E8, is it?
Rook E8.
Oh,
okay. Again, mate. So the threat is, there's no real threat, which makes it even difficult to choose what is best. So G7 is something which Black.
Or Queen A1.
Maybe Queen C3.
Yeah, with the same idea.
Yeah, this is really complicated.
Yeah.
All right, let's just move on to another board.
Should we look at?
I think Jacob has a great chance. He's 2 pawns up. Is he? He's 1 pawn up. He has an outer A pauser, and White's king on G4 smells like trouble.
Yeah.
So let's go to Patrick's game. Whoa.
Oh, okay. So the rooks have been exchanged, and they're going into an opposite colored bishop.
This is a good news for Patrick, Trisha.
Yeah.
It's an opposite color bishop endgame. It's not easy, but probably possible. So we should analyze this endgame. So bishop takes c5 will be played shortly. Yeah. But after bishop takes c5, we have this. Yeah. a6. White doesn't need to worry about anything on the queen side. 1 for 1, no
Black
big deal.
doesn't need to worry, you mean?
No, white. I mean, white is the one worrying, because he has to draw the game. He's 2 pawns down, and we have a scenario of 2 versus 4 black pawns. Not the best scenario white wanted, but probably the best he could achieve. Now the task is to find, how does black want to move his pawns? Does he want to play g6 h5? But that would have fixed the g5. So the pawn chain would be fixed with g5. So there might be a position that... So let's say bishop takes c5. Let's go there. Trisha, actually, you know, there's a very precise move Patrick needs to find. I think he needs to play g5. That's very important. I'll tell you why. Because after a move like bishop takes c5, I think black can play bishop f3. No, I thought after bishop, well, ace, this is hanging, but then g5. G5 is a key move, and what? Patrick finds it. That's insane. That shows high level of endgame technique. Well done, Patrick. G5 is a really strong move, and if you ever read this a very important endgame manual called the Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, one of the key rules he tells is don't rush, don't be patient. You know, endgames, it's not like, it is sometimes very concrete. You need to really calculate move by move. Each move does have its importance, but endgames are very conceptual too. And in this situation, a move like g5 kind of clamps down the pawns for black, and now black is forced to make some pawn move. In return, white exchanges another pawn, and white wants to exchange as many pawns as he can.
True.
So it's easier to stop them from queening, right? So a move like g5, I think, even though with less time, Patrick is finding the best moves, and I think he found a real chance to draw the game now.
Yeah.
So I think, let's say a move like h6, or c5 is gone, so there's no point of protecting that. a6 was played, okay. Bishop takes c5 will be played, and now what? So after bishop takes c5, let's say a move like h6 takes. Now the king will start running, and a move like here, bishop e7, f6, and this is this is probably not good.
Yeah, endgames are always tricky.
Yeah, maybe bishop e7, h5, bishop h4. This is a scenario what white wants. Everything is controlled. It's hard to break through from here. Yeah, I think Patrick is gonna make a draw here.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know what happened, but I was very pessimistic about Patrick's chances, but he definitely proved me wrong. If okay, rook d3, quite natural. Maybe was knight d6 the best? Knight d6, knight b7, knight b7, knight c5, probably. But yeah, it's hard to say that because you wanna trade the rooks. Okay, Shane played f6.
Should we take on f6 or play f4 or play a move like bishop e3 protecting the g5 pawn?
I'm tempted to play g takes f6, takes, and run towards the center, h5. Maybe this is not a scenario I want then, maybe. It's not easy, but I think practically white has great chances to draw this game. I'm not sure, is it bishop d6 whatever move I'm telling the engines are screaming at, it's -3. So it's currently -1. We're just trying to figure out, or is f4 a more easier way to deal things? f4.
Doesn't look like, but take on g5, f takes.
King f7. King here.
Yeah, maybe this could be a better way.
Bishop f8 is quite important.
Okay.
It is complicated.
So if the king comes to f2 and if we get the bishop on g3...
Should be okay, you're right. Let's try to make it work.
I don't know. We have to play bishop e5, I guess. Oh, okay. Okay, well, do we play king d4? Oh, we can play king d4. Oh, okay.
So it's important not to allow e5 here for black, because let's say I move like so after, oops, where were we? Bishop e5, king f5, bishop h2, e5 would kind of lock in the situation here, maybe bishop c6, king e3 again. Now how do we break through, Trisha? And this is a wrong color, so black cannot expect that if I give these 2 pawns for this bishop I would win. No, that won't happen. But it's 6. King g4 is a mistake. Oh, it's a zugzwang.
So if white moves the king, like to f2,
and then I think I slowly go on this side of the board.
So if king d3 then?
I go here, maybe. No.
Then bishop e5. What's the difference?
h3, king e3, bishop c6, here. Or here, and bishop e4 maybe.
Oh, okay.
And then king f2. King e6. No. King d5. Yeah, I think we're going too deep in the rabbit hole. But
it's a very hard game, looks like.
Yeah.
There are many ways to go wrong.
Certainly. So we're on this position here. It's board 2. Patrick is currently okay. He takes on f6. So he wants a scenario where the bishop is on h4, blocking this pawn. King is somewhere on e3 or f4, so stopping this king from kind of coming here.
Yeah.
So this is what people want. Bishop h4, king f4. Let's see if Patrick can accomplish that. So he starts with king d3. Engines aren't really happy. We're not sure why. So is h5 there? h5 is a strong move.
Did Patrick play king d3?
Yeah, he played king d3. Oh, e5. Again, engine is not happy, but it's hard to... what I don't like about e5 is that now there's a possibility of playing f4 at some point, you know? Yeah. And as I said before, exchanging pawns is what white wants. So king e3, perfectly played, f4 is happening. Guys, I think board 2 was going to be a draw. I think Patrick will save the day. It is not at all easy to convert this from black, and it's Patrick has an easy job to defend, but not sure.
But the evaluation is not giving us any hope.
Yeah, So what if f4? f4, e4 has to be the only move. No. Do you have? Is this his only move? Okay, king here.
Oh, okay. And we
Yeah,
get the similar
I don't know if
position.
the engine is working correctly in this position, but maybe we need the assistance of a table base to confirm if it's better or not. But alright, apart from this tournament, we should also talk about the upcoming tournaments. For those tuning in, we would love to know what's your next tournament. And currently, we have in our schedule for May, we're planning to play the Gori Rapid Tournament, which happens this Sunday on 11th May. It's a rapid event and they're organizing for the first time. And those who play the Armstrong Cup or in the Leinster Leagues, Gori recently in the previous season promoted to the Division 1. So they're quite a formidable team and they're organizing a very nice rapid tournament, a one-day rapid tournament. So if anyone is free on Sunday, please do consider joining that. You can meet us as we're there too. We're playing in that tournament. And also after that we're playing in the NS Congress as well, which is I think 2 weeks after that. It's on May 16th if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
It's a weekender tournament, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So you can catch us there live playing at those tournaments. So do let us know if you're playing those tournaments. We could meet up.
Yes.
Okay, so that's board 2. Board 3, what's going on? This position hasn't changed even a bit. So the last time
very slow.
it is going very slow, but that's what Jason has to do with this very strong knight.
Should just slowly improve the position. Okay, Gori Rapid will be a fun tournament. I'm not sure what the capacity is, so if people want to play, they should sign up as that.
Yeah, says Declan.
True.
Yes, Declan. Rapid tournaments are quite fun. I've never been to Gori before, County Wexford, in a while, so I'd definitely look forward to playing over there and hope to see you there too. So, coming to Jason's game, I think we need to add to understand this position a bit deeper. There hasn't been much progress. Why? Because all of the pawns are on the board. One pawn's been exchanged, but wait a minute. Okay, yeah, there's no pawn on white pawn on e pawn. So there are total 7 pawns for both sides. That means it's a very close position. The pace of the game will be slow, but once it opens up, it's gonna erupt as quickly as wildfire. So what to do as white? So currently Jason just played rook ae1, looking over the b file, and you can see that there is clear indication that white is playing on the queen side. And actually, by the way, guys, we're just 2 minutes away for a break. We'll probably have a 15 minutes break and then we'll join you again. So I'll quickly just kind of give my thoughts about this position. I think Jason will play rook fc1, a4, a5, and then probably decide then should I take with the knight or with the pawn. So Jason will be playing on the queen side, though I think he should be careful that he doesn't allow any sort of counterplay on the king side.
Yeah, I agree. The e4 pawn looks pretty advanced, but at the same time, the bishop on e3 is doing a good job blocking it.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll just quickly check up on the first board position. Whoa. So Jacob played knight d8. He wasn't greedy with taking the d4 pawn. Probably that was a good idea. And I was mentioning that stability is what black needs, and Jacob has found stability with the knight on e6, protecting on f7. So there's no loose piece here.
Yeah. So we have something in the chat. White has all the play. Could also go on king side with g4 break, rook g1, g4. Oh,
okay, we need to address that.
Jason's game.
Jason's game, yes. White has definitely all the play. Although I'm not sure if it's advisable to, well, rook a8 by black. Okay, that's confusing now. Can rook g1 be played? Rook g1. Let's say I make a move like, probably a5 is black's idea. But that just helps white open on this front. But g4 is an idea. I haven't thought about it, but it does make sense. Ice cream. So g4 is a nice idea. White has all the play. Could also go on kingside with g. Yeah, definitely.
True.
So white does have the flexibility of playing on both sides. Though I think, principally, you don't want to play on a side where it is optional. You could do it, but it just slightly weakens your king. It doesn't do that though, particularly. But yeah, you kind of expose your king, but it's not no harm at all. But
true.
That's a right point. So thanks
Maybe
for mentioning
after
it.
g4, black will play g6.
Yeah.
Kind of.
All right, guys. We'll take a quick 15 minutes break. Please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will come back at 5:45 p.m. All right, guys. See you in a bit. Just a second. We'll take a quick 15 minutes break. Please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will come back at 5:45 p.m. All right, guys. See you in a bit. Alright guys, we're back in action. Hope you can see our screen. Where were we? Yeah, we were talking about Jason's game and he is clearly better. So I hope you can see us, hear us. Do let us know if we're live. While we were at the break, I had made some hot chocolate.
Too selfish, you didn't make some for me.
Yes, apologies.
So the last thing we were talking about was White had some ideas with G4.
Correct. And
I was saying G6, but as Ice Cream pointed out, there's Bishop D4. Oh yeah.
correct.
True.
Now this diagonal is quite weak. Yep.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, there was no harm for White to just play Rook G1 and just see how Black reacts. And this is the kind of moves you would like to play. Play moves that provoke your opponent to make a very committal decision. So Jason just slowly improves his kingside, queenside position. Plays A5, Rook AC8, B5. Wow, Jason is on fire. He's striking through.
This looks like the position. I don't know where. It's this typical, or I don't know, famous position. You know, in semi-Slav or something, you have these A5, A6, B5, B6.
I don't know what exactly you're referring to, but I've seen this idea. No, it happens in the Queen's Gambit Decline, where Bishop A6 is played, Bishop takes A6, Rook takes A6, and B5. And if you do C takes B5, it's C6. What I'm referring to is Vishy Anand's only win in his World Championship matches against Magnus Carlsen. If you remember in Sochi 2014, there was game, can't remember which game number, but he was white and he won that game quite convincingly. Okay, and actually we should mention the previous winners from the last year's Malahide Millennium Tournament, and basically also the Leinster Championship. So let's quickly go over there, shall we, Trisha?
Yep.
So let me change my screen to the standings. No. Yes, standings, perfect. And we transition over here, and let's go to chess results. We will quickly type last year's tournament. We got the list. I hope you can see the list, guys. So almost there. So yes, this is a list of last year's tournament, the senior section, and the senior section was won by FCM Shane Millock with 5 out of 6. I think he made. Oh, he lost the last round, but still it was enough to clinch the Leinster champion title. So, and then coming on second place is Adam Collins with 4 out of 6, and then Jason Liu with the bronze medal. And it's interesting to see that Anayam played this tournament, but he was unsuccessful in getting a podium finish. So that was a good strong tournament. Let's see the intermediate section from last year. If we find any players who are playing in this year too, we can see Maxim. We saw Maxim play, right? In this tournament, Trisha?
Oops.
Okay. Probably refresh the screen.
Yeah.
Never mind. So
I think
coming back to the games. Let's focus on our board 1 game in the senior section,
Wow, and it has changed a lot.
Changed a lot, indeed. There's a rook trade. So I think we saw at this point where we said that Jacob found the right plan to kind of stabilize his knight and then take it forward, and he did. So this is a position that Jacob can't lose, so that's for sure now. He's a clear pawn up. White has a weak king. This is something Jacob can convert. Knight f5, so now eyeing on knight h4 check, queen g4. So how should white play now? So knight h4 check, queen g4 are the threats. So let me try to play queen h3. This would stop queen g4. However, knight h4 is still here. King h1. Queen f4 perhaps. I want to play a move like g6, but that seems like a huge blunder because of rook c4. Oh no. So I have to be careful. Can I just play g6? Yeah. g6, play queen f4, or can I do that even immediately? Queen f4. Yeah, that wins a pawn. So this is, yeah, again guys, if you're just tuning in, we are commentating on the games from the Malahide Millennium Tournament, and we're checking the games from the senior section, and this is a very important match. It's the board 1 encounter between Uzbekistan's FIDE master Oleg Artemenko and Ireland's candidate master Jacob Flynn. Jacob Flynn is on 4 out of 5 and Oleg is 4.5 out of 5, so he's half a point leading from the rest of the field, so a draw is enough for him, and this is what he's really trying to go for. So Oleg plays queen e5, bringing the king to the center, queen to the center. How does black play now? The king is weak. There probably could be some mating nets which black should start thinking about. Queen g4 check, king h1. Probably Jacob would take this pawn. Yeah, it's very well possible, and that's 2 pawns now. So Jacob has a high winning chance now at this point. He's most likely gonna win this. And how does this affect the standings? So Jacob will oh, Patrick drew this game. Oh, this is a big result. So sorry guys, we're quickly coming back to this game, and we see that Patrick and Shane have agreed for a draw. Why this is a draw, let me explain. So black has 2 pawns, but what white will do is sacrifice this pawn. So let's say I move like...
White will sacrifice the bishop.
Sorry, sacrifice the bishop for the pawn. So let's say I run over here. I can't really do anything but to just sacrifice my bishop. And now the problem is, it's a very important endgame concept you should know. This is called the wrong color. So what happens is, this is a light squared bishop, and in order to ensure that this kind of setup is winning, is that this final destination, the promoting square, should be of the same color as the bishop. In this case, it's not satisfying. The bishop is a light squared bishop and the queening square is a dark square. Therefore, how much black tries, this is going to be a draw. Black just simply can try as much as he want, but there's nothing, and this is a stalemate.
True.
So it's a draw. So therefore they have agreed for a draw. That's a great result for Patrick. He was worse throughout the game, and it's...
I'm curious how they got into this position.
Oh, Shane had a winning position.
Wow.
Oh, H2 was the final mistake, but it's really hard to break through. What's the way to do it? I don't get it. Do we have to bring the king all the way to g1? So let's say king c3.
King e2.
Maybe I just go here.
Okay, yeah.
Check. check.
Oh, you play e3 somehow.
Some point, yes.
And then kind of deflect.
This is the draw. Bishop g2, king f2 again.
And then e3. No, e3, bishop e3.
Maybe bishop h1. Now you're getting into a zugzwang. h2 is again a draw. It's tricky.
Why are we putting the bishop on h1? Can we
bishop
bishop
f3,
on
bishop f4.
bishop g4?
Again, I'll move somewhere here.
Then e3.
Yeah, it's winning.
How is it winning still?
So he lets a king here. And it's a zugzwang.
Okay, yeah.
Almost there. Bishop d3 check and it's winning.
Yeah.
Bishop f3. Oops, we missed some messages.
Bishop f3, king c2, king d1. Bishop needs to be on f3, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideally bishop f3, king c2, king d1.
Yeah, not on g2. Yeah, true.
It does obstruct.
Because then we can't play h2. Right, yeah.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's sad. Shane had a great winning chance, but h2 was just at the wrong timing.
Yeah, I mean, Shane had so much time as well.
Yeah, he probably just calculated that, Patrick is going to just sacrifice the e3 pawn, so it's just...
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Shane had time to think, but these end games, no matter how much time you have, it's hard to...
True. Yeah.
To know you're right or wrong. So, what does that mean? Let's check the standings again. Oh no, are we? No, sorry, I forgot. We are not on the game screen again. Apologies. Yes. Oh god, all the time we was there. But okay, I think we have.
Arthur Mull is saying this endgame minus the a pawn is in 100 endgames, I believe.
So with e and h pawns, that's interesting. So it doesn't make much difference having the a pawns, I believe, then, does it? They're not playing much role into it.
True. What if there weren't any a pawns? But then white can just give the bishop for the a pawn.
Probably. Yeah. Complicated endgame, definitely.
True.
So let's check the standings. Standings around 6 players. I hope you guys can see the standings. Now, Oleg is still playing, so he's on number 1 still. Then you have Patrick, who drew his game. Ivanov, Andre, who won his game. So both are on 4.5 out of 6, and their 2 are Malahide boys. They play for the Malahide Chess Club, so they ensure that the podium finishes are for the club. So, and then next comes Shane with 4 out of 6, Atharva Paibir 4 out of 6, and Jacob still playing 3.5 out of 4. Even Jason is still playing. Oh, sorry, 3.5 out of 4 is wrong. Correct? It's 4 out of 5. It's some mistake with Lichess, but this is the current standing. Still, there are a couple of games pending, so we have to wait for all of them to finish.
Should we take a look at the third board?
Yeah.
Jason's game.
But let's just check here again, sorry. Okay. So now this becomes a very technical position, Trisha. What do you think?
Yeah. So black has 3 pawns. Is a pawn up. And white has 2 pawns. And white's king is weak. But it's a bit like white has Black has to know how to kind of come up with a good plan, how to execute the win.
True. Even an endgame with queens traded, it's not easy, but I think it's in Black's best interest to keep the queens on the board since White's king is a bit exposed. So it'll be definitely a grind. Both are under 20 minutes. This is certainly the finale we all wanted, so it's a treat to watch such games where now one side is in the driver's seat to push for a win, and the other side is just hoping to keep the draw in.
So Oleg just needs a draw. At this point, since Patrick drew, it means only a draw. Oleg is the clear champion. So Jacob, it's on him to. It's gonna be exciting to see if who's gonna win. It looks like Jacob can convert this position. So let's wait and watch.
Jason is cruising through. He got his
looks pretty
pawn on and wait, and he didn't even sacrifice anything. He's just gonna go rook b8. Take, get another rook here.
I was just thinking, even without the bishop on e2, I think White's winning.
Even me too. I was thinking, oh wait, did White sacrifice anything? But no, nothing. And it's this is so Jason would win. That means he would be also on tied second place.
4.5.
Tied. So should we check any other games? We have Yinan versus Oliver. Black is better here in this position. We have Ayanch, who is winning here against Brazilian Zairo. Pamplona. I think he's our teammate. He's our teammate at Dublin Chess Club. And I've also interviewed Ayanch in discovering the Irish Prodigies series, so do check out our interview with him. So he's winning. Ayanch probably is winning in this moment. And then we have Alkim Alper versus Brian, and Brian is a clear piece knight up, so he's winning. And let's see the other sections, shall we, Trisha?
Sure.
So if we go to the junior section, what's going on here? So it's turned into a quite complex
rook end
game where Black has the control over the d file, which is a good news for Black. And I think Paulson only needs to draw this game to clinch victory.
But I think there's someone on 4.5.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Correct. So it's not over yet. But I think Black is in a clear preference here. With the open file, it is better. How about the intermediate section? Here we have it. Oh, the broadcast seems like it stopped here.
That's sad.
Even here too.
No.
So unfortunately we wouldn't know the results for intermediate and even on board 2 as well. It's okay. So we'll focus on the senior section. So Jason is winning. We have one main game to kind of look forward, because others have clearly winning positions, so we keep all our eyes on this very board. Can you check if anyone has wrote anything in the chat? Okay. And guys, if you have any doubts on this position or anything in general, do let us know. We'll be happy to answer. And
so Jacob played Queen D2.
Jacob played Queen D2. He's putting pressure on this F2 pawn. Is there anyone out of 4 Yes, the red guy in the corner asked that question. Yes, I think there are 2 people from this entire tournament. In the intermediate section, there was Joshua, who was on 4-4, 5-5, and I don't know what's his result in round 6. Same goes to in the junior section. What was his name? Frenchie.
Yeah.
Frenchie was 4-4 and also 4-5. I mean 5-5. So there were 2 people who were on 100%, and I think they might win their last game too. They're quite strong for apart from their field. So we have clear winners in that, but the senior section is quite tightly contested.
True.
Both sides have 15 minutes, Oleg and Jacob.
I was thinking maybe Jacob is planning to trade the queens with queen d5 check.
Probably, but I'm thinking that Jacob would have more chances. Oh, Oleg is now trading the queen. That says something. That says that Oleg is happy with the queen trade.
True. I mean, it makes sense as well because Oleg can't really play the position with the queens on the board. I mean, it's risky for him.
It is very risky, and
the only chance he has is without the queens.
Correct. So I think Jacob should avoid the queen trade because he has no reason to fear. So I would say, queen f4, correct decision. This is going to be a long game, guys, so we're going to wait till we see who is going to win here. But this is a perfect situation for Jacob. He has all the time to slowly grind this out, and it's Oleg's task to kind of defend every move, every decision. So that'll be interesting. And again, speaking about the tournaments, our upcoming chess schedule is like we're going to play the Gori Chess Rapid this Sunday, and they're organizing it for the first time, guys. And if you're free on Sunday this weekend, do join the tournament. It's the first time they're organizing, so it'll be great crack. And after that, the following next week on 16th, or is it 16th? I'm kind of missed 16th. Because if it's probably it's on the 16th. Perfect. So on 16th, the NS Congress is commencing. So that's another tournament to look out for. So please do, guys, check it out on icu.ie for more details about it. And we'll be happy to meet you there in the tournament. Okay.
So do we have any update on
and also a few words about the organizers. As I've mentioned before, the organizers are Malahide Chess Club, and the chief arbiter and tournament director is Vincent Bissett. Vincent Bissett is done a great job in organizing this event, and you probably are following their social media handles, namely I think on their Instagram page you can see some glimpses of the tournament venue. It's such an ambient venue, and I think players are certainly enjoying their time at this wonderful venue near the airport, the Radisson Blu Hotel.
I think that's like a unique place to have a tournament.
Yes,
because
certainly.
Most of the tournaments in Ireland happen at the Talbot Hotel.
Yeah, and the Talbot, Slogan, and many other places.
Yeah.
And usually tournaments are rarely held at near airports because it's quite expensive. But I think quality is what the organizers are striving for, and definitely from what I heard from the players, it's a very nice venue. And And this is annually held, guys. So if you're planning to play this tournament, I think it'll be around the same time next year. So do mark your calendars for this tournament.
Yes.
Apart from that,
yes, yeah, we would have also would like to play this tournament, but we were playing a tournament in Sardinia, so yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, we always keep missing this tournament.
Yeah.
We have some or the other tournament clashing with this, but yeah, definitely this tournament is on our wish list.
Mm-hmm. Wow, the evaluation bar has gone down a lot.
Yeah, I think we might see a resignation, guys. Knight f3 is a huge threat, threatening queen takes h2 mate. And there seems to be like there's no good way to defend. I'm thinking of rook g1, knight f3, and now rook g3. Does this make sense? But I think queen c1 check, king g2, knight h4 check, king h3, knight f5, rook g4.
No, go back. You can play rook d2, right?
So where exactly? So
yeah,
I was saying that
g1.
knight f3 is happening, so we need to find cover for the h2 pawn. So I was thinking rook g1.
Yeah, and then we can play rook d2 instead of knight f3.
Rook d2 and then spoil the coordination.
Yeah.
And
I mean, instead of knight f3.
Instead of knight f3,
is that
rook
possible?
d2. Ah, you're right. And you're winning the f2 pawn.
Yeah.
You're right. And yeah, there's no
So it looks like Jacob is close to winning the tournament.
And Patrick drew, so he's on 4.5 out of 5.
Uh-huh.
And if Jacob wins, he will be on 5 out of 6. And Artemenko Oleg would be on 4.5 out of 6.
Yeah.
Because he's currently playing on 4.5 out of 6.
4.5 out of
5, pardon me. So knight h4, guys. We're gonna see a resignation soon. It's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over. Okay, we'll quickly check Jason's game.
Oh, there's a nice... Okay, I thought queen e4.
Mm-hmm.
I thought rook e8 was possible, but...
Yeah,
sadly
queen takes e8 check. So maybe... Yeah, black should play king g7 and then...
But if...
What
What if queen e4, by the way? Oh, okay, we can just take on e4. Take on e4.
Yeah.
Like, come on, yeah.
Right, so, yeah. So I think it was very important for Oleg to probably put the bishop on g2 so that he covers these important squares. But since bishop c4 and there's no access to this diagonal now with the rook covering this square, sad. So yeah, we're waiting for Oleg's move. I think he is just realized that it is now hard to save this position.
It's impressive.
All right, and
how Jacob, was in a must-win situation. For,
indeed.
To win the championship, and
True.
he's nearly
and
able to do
he
it.
survived almost a scare from the morning round too. It was a bit inferior position, but I think he asked a draw in the right moment. And asking a draw, there is an art in itself, guys. It's not there is an art when to offer a draw, when not to, when to decline a draw. So all these are closely knitted into the psychology of chess, and these things are a bit of advanced things you will later know as you're playing, but yeah, generally try to always play for a win. See how things...
Bishop c4, big mistake, but still black could grind out for 30 plus moves, position so strong.
Indeed, Ice Cream just said, bishop c4, it was the final mistake, but this position is so pleasant that white could play, as he was mentioned the position is so strong that he keeps on playing till Jacob tires out Oleg in this position. So back to the live board. We still have no move.
Artemenko's still thinking.
What is happening on board 6? Board 6. So we have a position where 2-4. Black is 2 pawns up. Have a steady position. This is winning. Oliver is winning. Then on board 8, board 9. It's kind of a crazy position, but Black has an extra knight. So Jason is clear piece up. A pauser. Should be an easy task to convert this.
Yeah.
And coming to Jacob's game.
Should we look if the other section...
So that if Jacob wins, then we have another Leinster champion from the Malahide Chess Club. So Malahide Chess Club is producing Leinster champions. Yeah, and sadly we don't have any update on the other sections yet. So, but I believe the leaders are probably doing well. And guys, if you have any questions on what books to study, what games to follow or players to follow, do let us know. We will be happy to help in this stream. Okay.
I think Oleg's opening choice, was good, but probably maybe he had to play something solid.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like probably, when you make a move like G4, you need to be sure, though it is the principal reaction, as we were actually talking earlier in the stream, that G4 is the true Jobavian move that you should know as an exponent here. But if Black knows his stuff, then, which Jacob is a well-known theoretician in Irish circles, so it wasn't a surprise that he knew the right way to do it. But he took his time. It wasn't like he knew the theory, but he found the right moves and he slowly nurtured his advantage. So we're still waiting on Oleg's move. You probably will see a resignation. I think there's just no way White is defending this position. Anything else, Trisha, want to talk about?
I never actually seen Oleg play in classical tournaments.
Yes, Oleg has recently been very active in the Irish chess scene, and he has been winning rapid tournament after rapid, a blitz tournament after a blitz. So he's a huge expert. And by the way, when I was preparing for him for one game, because I knew that he was playing a rapid tournament, so I was just checking. Oleg was a very strong player back in his time. He's still now, but back when he was, probably my age, he was playing the World Juniors. He was playing every serious tournament. So he was a serious player back then. Now I think he's working professional. But he's still enjoying chess, and he's still playing some really nice games. He won the 2024 Climax Rapid Tournament in Drogheda, which was a huge marathon. It was 18 rounds.
Wow. Never seen so many rounds.
Yeah, an 18 rounds tournament, I think across 3 days, or I don't remember. It's a blitz tournament, and he won it quite convincingly. So yeah, Oleg is a very strong blitz player. Maybe classical, he's still finding his way, but speed chess is his forte. So Rook G1 was played by Oleg, and as we correctly and Rook D2.
Yeah.
That's it, instantly played by Jacob. Now Black is threatening to attack the E2 queen. attack the f2 pawn. It's almost game over. Down to 6 minutes and queen g4. And
there is a mate in 9.
Mate in 9. Guys, is a mate in 9 possible for us to find?
Mate in 9. How is there a mate in 9?
It's a forced mate in 9. That's crazy. Okay, maybe queen takes f2. Come on.
Yeah.
Queen takes f2 and
queen g3.
Queen takes f2. Queen here. Knight f3 probably. Or yeah, 2 pawns even now. You don't need to really
Oh, you can
checkmate.
play queen f3 check, I guess. After queen g3.
True. True.
Yeah. Okay. Jacob is gonna find this pretty easily, I guess.
Yeah, Jacob has enough time to do this. So we'll just be on this board. I know we kind of know what the outcome will be, but we'll witness together when Jacob...
But what's actually mate in 9? Like queen takes f2.
So queen takes f2, queen g3.
If queen g3, then queen f3 is there.
And then there's mate. I mean, mate is following. You just keep sacrificing till you get the mate. So
yeah.
So maybe this is not accurate, but maybe yeah, you could. Oh.
Okay, this was
Queen f2 was indeed played.
Yeah.
Right. So now Jacob is 2 pawns up, clearly winning endgame. Queen g3, and now well, queen f3 be the last move before Oleg resigns. Well, guys, we're witnessing Jacob lifting the Leinster Championship trophy. So queen f3 should be the winning move, guys. Queen f3. And with this win, Jacob will be a sole winner, an outright winner in the Malahide Millennium 2025 Senior Championships. Or, sorry, Championships in the senior section. So, it's just moments till we witness.
Maybe it's just a delay, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone is watching from the event. Guys, please shout out if you're at the event and you're watching the stream. Though, I should admit, I mean, if you're able to see it over there,
yeah.
why would you be streaming, watching here? But that would be...
Okay,
oh,
yeah,
queen f3 check. Wow, that's played. And I think now Oleg is going to resign. There's no way. So it's and that's it, guys. Huge congratulations to Jacob Flynn. He has won the tournament outright with 5 out of 6. He lifts the Leinster Championship trophy. It's just an incredible result. And according to our audience, Declan particularly, he mentioned that this win would take Jacob to 2290 and close to 2300. So we could very well see Ireland's latest FIDE master, Jacob Flynn. This is a fantastic result. We could see Jacob's progress over here. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but he started off, I think, with a win against Gabriel Landmark, then Victor from Spain, from Italy, Mikhail, Jason. So 3 continuous wins.
4 wins.
Oh, sorry, 4 continuous wins. And then he drew against an important draw against Patrick. It was a bit shaky, but he found the way to manage to get a draw. And now, when a situation arose where he had to win with the black pieces, he delivered it. Congrats, Jacob. That was an amazing...
Congratulations to Jacob Flynn.
It's an amazing performance.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're in a must-win situation, it's very hard. And yeah, it's nice to win.
Yes, and as our chat is saying, Ice Cream is saying, very beautiful, just a knight plus rook causing devastation.
Oh, Declan is... Okay, Declan and Arthur are saying, oh, he drew against Gabriel Landmark in round 1.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys. Thanks
we
for.
didn't see that. Oh.
Oh, okay. So he drew
Yeah,
round one.
that's what I was thinking. How
Then
he's
how?
not a sole leader. So he drew the first round.
Right. Apologies.
Oh,
So all the time we were wrong. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
So he drew against Gabriel Landmark,
Oh,
and
okay.
then had 3 wins, continuous wins, and then he drew against Patrick, and then
Oh, okay.
eventually
Yeah.
won
Thanks
against.
for the information.
Yes, thank you, guys. So this is a brilliant performance. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream.
Yes.
I think we have a few more games left. Brian is winning here. Jason should be converting here. So let's just quickly see the leaderboard. So let's where do we go? We go here, players. I hope you can see the result.
Okay, they haven't.
Is it updated yet?
Oh, it's because Jacob drew the first round on it. It was not on a live board or something.
Yeah, maybe. So Jacob should be on number 1 here, guys. So Jacob is on number 1. Number 2 is Oleg. I don't know if this is the most accurate standing, but just points wise. Then Oleg, Patrick, Andre, Shane, and Jason should be winning too. So he'll be joining the pack of. There's a 1, 2, 3. There's a 4-way tie for second place, and clear first is Jacob Flynn.
Wow.
Yeah, Jason should be winning his position, though it is not clear yet. But yeah, with these 2 passers, it can't be a big deal.
Yeah. But there's some kind of attack going on the king side, like.
There is.
And with the pawns.
So maybe.
Should white take on g5?
Yeah, take, and h4 and just soften up this pawn.
f4? f4.
Oh. Oops. So live back to live. Oh, he
took. Yeah.
he took, takes, and h4.
f4.
f4. I take. So we're almost finishing up, guys. We're just checking the third board game. This is also an important game because if this win would secure a shared second prize for Jason too.
Mm-hmm. And is board 5 or 6 still playing?
And board.
Yeah.
Yeah, board 6,
Okay,
the broadcast stopped.
Yeah.
Board
Black
9, yeah, black is checkmating, so that's almost done and dusted. So we're just waiting for this game majorly to have a decisive advantage. But it's been a great time. This bank holiday was very fun for us to commentate, analyze, give us our insights to the positions. And we're very grateful for all of you guys who tuned in.
Yeah.
Was very active on the chat as well. Thanks, Ice Cream, Arthur, Declan, the red guy in the corner, Billy the Kid, Naveen, Sai. Then thanks, and R Jaxer. All of you guys, thanks for joining the stream.
Yes. It was a fun stream.
It was
our first stream, yeah.
Yes, and please let us know if you have any suggestions for us, how we can improve our streams. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. We'll try to improve it. And if you like our content, please subscribe to our channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
ChessATC. Okay, so Jason is under 9 minutes. It is a bit scary. Sometimes when you're clearly winning, you start to overthink, try to find the most easiest way to win, but sometimes some calculation is required, and probably this is the moment where Jason should find a clear-cut plan without much trouble.
Can Jason play something like knight b5 and play d6?
Knight b5, d6 sounds like a plan. Let's start with that. Knight b5.
Oh, sorry, knight b5, sorry.
Yeah. So the only way I could do is from black side is to create some havoc. on this king side. So maybe f4.
Just go for d6.
d6. Go f3.
Takes on f3.
And then I go here.
Bishop f3.
So bishop f3 and there's nothing.
Yeah, and then Jason played knight b7.
He played knight b7. Probably even more accurate because it protects the queening square and also threatens to win another pawn. So f4. Well, black will try to try any last tricks possible, but it seems like white's position is too strong to be dismantled. So d6. Jason is just going for the second queen. There's no easy way to stop it.
Bishop f5.
Bishop f5 seems like an option, but
then bishop g4 is...
Even knight takes c5 or bishop g4.
Yeah.
So guys, just don't leave yet. We're on to the final game. I think almost all games are finished except Jason's game against Margaret. So we're currently on this position. Jason is clearly winning. But it's a fantastic result. If you see the result, we'll quickly check the standings again. If you see the results, most of the top finishers are from the Malahide Chess Club. You see Jacob on number 1 position. Now it's corrected, I believe. Yeah, it's corrected. Jacob Flynn.
Jacob is on fire.
Yes, some small error, but Jacob is from Malahide Chess Club. Patrick, Andre, Shane.
Is that Andre as well?
Yeah, Andre as well. Shane. I'm not sure, there could be more as well. I'm missing out, but this is incredible.
Yeah. Any progress in Jason's game? Okay,
so d6 is still...
Jason is going to win, but yeah. Yeah.
So we're waiting for the final moment, and then we'll wrap it up, guys. It's been a long stream. My prediction is that Malahide... Declan. My prediction is that Malahide will win the Armstrong next season. Yeah, I think we could have a discussion on that while we're waiting for Jason to win. Yeah, I think there was a point where I think Gonzago had a huge domination over the Armstrong Cup. I think they won the championship, 3 in a row, 5 in a row, I don't know. Many times. And then, did we break the cycle? I think Dublin Chess Club break the cycle. And then this season, Wat Mainz, or Koleszajna, the Knights of Ena Chess Club.
And Malahide came second.
And Malahide, definitely the progress of Malahide is reflected even in this tournament. So I would agree with you, Declan. I think they will win the championship next time. But by the way, our club won against Malahide in the last round. So, but it'll definitely be an interesting season again. And the season would start again in October. I don't remember.
September, October.
Around that time. And guys, if you're still not aware of the leagues in Ireland, do check out your local clubs. And if you want to find a local club near your place, head on to icu.ie/clubs. You can find a list of clubs. You can enter your county, your air code, and I think you could find results where your club is near, and you can contact and enroll into playing the leagues. I think leagues are a very convenient way to play serious tournament games, and at your flexible timing.
Yeah.
So Jason's opponent is still taking time.
Yeah. And there was actually, if bishop f5, bishop g4, if bishop takes g4, queen e4. Oh, okay, yeah. If bishop takes g4, we have queen e4.
Oh,
and then
yeah, Ice Cream mentioned a good point that white doesn't need to take on g4. He can play queen takes e4 intermezzo, and then recapture the bishop back.
Yeah.
So d6, we're just waiting for the final game to finish, but I guess we could start our stream, guys.
Yeah.
Jason is gonna win, definitely. F3 is played, but it's gonna take another 20 minutes probably, or another 10 minutes, but we know the result is in Jason's favor. All right, guys, thanks for joining the stream. We wish that we do more such streams, so please do follow our channel and support us. Thank you for following, tuning in for this stream, and have a nice evening. See you guys. Bye bye everyone.